Hey y'all, what's going on? It's DIY Alex and we are back with another Tutorial Tuesday. I am so excited to show you guys how to craft these tiered tray blanks. They are one of my favorite parts of the Spring Farmhouse Mystery Box, so I'm literally so excited to do this project with you. So let me go ahead and check out the live. Make sure you let me know in the comments if you can hear me okay and see me okay, and then we will get right into this tutorial because we have a lot to cover today. So let me check out your all's comments. Make sure all the things sound good, look good. Looks like there's 29 friends with us. Hello, hello. Oh my goodness, y'all have been having all kinds of conversations. I'm so glad you guys are here. Hey, Roseanne. Hey, Kristen. Hey, Cindy. I'm a little sad that they're coming to an end too, Cindy. Me too. It's been so much fun. Kristen said, I was just watching them too. Yeah, I know. But that's okay. We'll have lots of other fun things going on in the month of May. Oh my gosh, that's so true, Roseanne. There's so many things to do even still. But we still have giant paper flowers. You're so right. Love it. Checking out all your comments. Irma wants to know how much the Cricut AutoPress is on HSN. You know, Irma, I think that the price is still $9.99 for the AutoPress. I'm not positive, but I think so because I think the kind of deal that they're doing with it is that you get the AutoPress, but then you also get all of the accessories. So you get all the accessories for the price of just the plain AutoPress by itself, if that makes sense. So you end up getting quite a bit actually for that kind of price tag. Good deal. Hello, hello, everyone. You can see and hear okay? Okay, so here's the situation on sound. Hey, Ruth, thanks for joining us. Thanks, Candace. This is obviously my logo, screen printed onto a fuchsia colored shirt. Hey, Connie, welcome. Yes, I need to order my card mat, Connie. We'll have to talk about that. I'm so excited about it. Oh my gosh, you had it at your local Joann's, Ruth. That's so exciting. So you don't even have to wait for it. Okay, so if you guys saw my stories today, I recommend you go watch them because this day has just been crazy. I realized yesterday that the microphone, like my favorite one that I normally use, has a battery in it, and that's why it was not sounding correctly when I would plug it into my iPad. But I was looking for the battery because it's supposed to be a very standard battery at Walmart today. They didn't have the right one, so I was looking for like an equivalent because supposedly there are some equivalents between these types of batteries. It's like one of those coin or what else do they call them? There's another name for them too. They're just like the little tiny watch batteries. Well, they didn't have the right one, so I looked for an equivalent. I supposedly found it and bought it, but I could not get my microphone to work. So we're just working on the microphone on my iPad today. So if we have any problems, I do have one nearby, but the cord is very short. So you guys are definitely gonna see me wearing it. I normally feed it up through my shirt and up through like the neck of my shirt, so you normally don't see it. But we're just working with what we have today because that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Oh, thanks, guys. Battery issues. Oh my gosh, like all the things, all of the things. What are you ordering from Amazon, Kristen? Oh, yay, Leslie. I'm so glad that you're here. Yeah, and if you guys want to see my derby fascinators, go check out my stories as well. I wanted to turn my mood around because honestly, guys, I had a rough start to my day. You can hear the full story about it on my Instagram stories. And I just was not in a very good mood. So I decided to do something fun. So I tried on my fascinators for you guys and showed you what they look like. And I think they're super fun. And then I had some chocolate and my whole day turned around. So now here we are and it's going to be great. Gretchen wants to know, oh shoot, sorry. I lost your comment. Hang on. Let me find it. I just saw it. Yes, button batteries. Thank you. That was the other word I was looking for. Exactly. Good, good. Gretchen wants to know, what type of blade do I use to cut Cricut cut wood with my Cricut maker. So Gretchen, to cut wood, then you'll want to use the knife blade. That's what you would use for this. If you got the Spring Farmhouse Mystery Box, then you already have the blanks in your box, but that's a great point. This could definitely be something you could make yourself using like balsa wood or basswood or even chipboard, because if you're gonna paint it anyway, nobody really knows what the material is underneath. So great point, Gretchen. That's a great thing to bring up. Awesome, awesome. Oh, thanks. Kristen said the fascinators are amazing. Be sure to check them out. They are super wild, y'all. Super wild. Crazier than anything I've ever worn. I agree, Kathy Ann. Chocolate does always seem to work. Somehow that just turns everything around. All right. Oh, and Gretchen just repeated her question. Perfect. Okay, so let me add in the screen capture to my iPad real quick, and then I will let that play. If you guys have been around here before, you know that I pretty much always, whenever there's time, I take a screen capture of how I set the SVG files up so that you guys know how to do the same thing on your own when you're crafting by yourself. So my iPad is downloading that pre-recording right now, so you can watch that for a couple minutes. I've already cut the vinyl. I'm gonna vinyl 2 of the projects today, and then I decided to stencil 3 of them. So you guys will get a chance to see how I set all that up here in just a moment. You're welcome, Gretchen. I'm happy to help. Oh, thanks, Ruth. I did get my nails done today, and I will show you guys them. They turned out pretty cute. I'm not 1000% happy with them, but I'm like 85% happy with them. So if you guys have not been around, also to give you a little bit of context, I am going to the Kentucky Derby this coming weekend. So there's races all week long, in case you guys didn't know that. It's not just literally the Kentucky Derby. There's races all week long, and I am going on Friday and also on Saturday for the actual Derby. So I got my nails done for that, and let me show you, let me go overhead and show that to you. Okay, good. We got that downloaded. So I got my nails done, and I decided to go with white on most of them and then a little bit of glitter on my ring finger. But if you look at my middle fingers, I asked them to do little horseshoes on my nails, and they look okay, but you just can't really see them. So I was actually thinking about putting rhinestones over top of the glitter. I probably won't do that until like Thursday night or Friday morning because I don't want those to go away. But I'm thinking about rhinestoning them myself because the shape is actually not too bad. You just can't really see them. So those are my derby nails because I wanted to make sure that everything matched. I am wearing fuchsia on Friday, and then I'm wearing like light pink, light blue, and gold on Saturday. So I had a hard time deciding what kind of, like what color to make my nails because that's a lot of different colors to match. So it's a little bit of a struggle there. But hey, Stephanie, welcome. That's right. Cheers to a better afternoon. Exactly. That's what I am here for. Okay, so now that this is all uploaded and playing, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play this pre-recording for you, and I'm gonna mute my microphone so you won't be able to hear me live. This section is pre-recorded, but you can still talk to me through the comments. So if you have any questions or if you have a technical issue or something, let me know in the YouTube comments, and then I'll be able to talk back and forth with you. So I'll see you guys in a couple minutes after this recording, and then we'll get into this tutorial. So the first step to getting our tiered tray blanks all ready is, of course, to utilize SVGs to figure out what we want to put on each piece. So if you got the Spring Farmhouse Mystery Box, you know that you have all the SVGs included, and I've already uploaded them, so I'm just going to go into my recent uploads and add them all into my Design Space canvas by clicking on each one. Then once they're in the Design Space canvas, and now I can decide what to do with each of them, because some of them I want to decorate with vinyl, and some of them I want to use the Star Mask stencil vinyl to create a stencil. You'll also notice that there are shapes behind each of the SVGs, and the really nice thing is that if for some reason you wanted to cover up all the wood and utilize vinyl as the background on any of your SVGs, these are all pre-sized to be exactly the right size for your blank itself. So we don't have to do any sizing, which is really, really awesome. We just get to decide what we want to do with each one. So we'll start with this mason jar here. As you can see, when I click on it, I have several different pieces over here. So I'm going to go ahead and ungroup it so I can work with the individual layers. And I'm going to go ahead and put vinyl on mine. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this black layer that's the background. So I'll just select the layer and then delete it. And now we have the rest of it to work with. And with all these little jar lines and everything, I thought it would look pretty good to just go ahead and cut this out of vinyl. So I'm going to click and drag a box around all of it. And then I'm going to choose attach so that everything cuts all together, and we'll just cut that one out of vinyl, nice and easy. Next, we'll go up to the little cutting board and we'll do let's eat, but I think we'll go ahead and I think we'll stencil that one. So in order to get these layers to work separately, we'll ungroup both of these and then we'll just go ahead and delete the background. So we have the let's eat, but of course we need to click and drag a box around both. And oh, we don't need to attach them because they're all already one layer. So they were created all, they don't have anything to separate, so we don't need to attach them. But I am going to go ahead and I'm going to turn them just like a mint green color, just so that I know that I need to cut this out of stencil vinyl, and then the black layers will be what I'm going to cut out of StarCraft HD to use plain vinyl on top of my blanks. So next I'll go ahead and delete the background of home as well because I'm going to go ahead and stencil that one. So I'll ungroup these two and delete the home layer. Then that's already one layer in and of itself, so it doesn't need to be attached either. So let's see. Then for this one, we'll go ahead and actually I need to change this one's color. So I need to change this one to a little mint green. And then for this one, I think we'll go ahead and cut this out of StarCraft HD as well. So we'll go ahead and ungroup it and delete that background. So we can just add black vinyl. And again, when it's all one layer like this, there's no need to change it up or anything because it's already ready to go. And then last but not least, we have the circle for the Love Lives Here. Now you have an option in this SVG file for the Love Lives Here with text, or you can just do a plain buffalo plaid circle and you can turn it into any kind of design you want. You could add something over top or just leave it as like a patterned piece. So I'm going to go ahead and just do this one out of vinyl, I think, because of all these little lines. I think it would be easier to cut this out of StarCraft HD. So I'm going to ungroup the layers so that I can work with them separately. And I'm going to go ahead and delete the plain pattern layer. And then I'll leave this one in black so that I can cut it out of the black matte StarCraft HD. So I'll vinyl 3 of them and I'll stencil 2 of them so you guys can get a good idea for how that works. Well, actually, now that we're doing this, now I'm changing my mind. Let's go ahead and do this one out of, we'll stencil this one as well. So we'll do 3 with stencil vinyl and 2 with StarCraft HD. So since we've done all this work to our SVG files, we'll go ahead and save this project. I'll call it Tiered Tray Set. And then save it. And then once we're ready, we'll go ahead and click the green Make It button and double check that everything is on the correct mat. I might move these apart just a little bit, just on the vinyl, so I have some extra room. And since I'm going to be cutting these out of stencil vinyl, I definitely want to give myself some space around here so that I have a little bit of extra vinyl to cover up the blank so I don't get paint all over the place. So I'm going to move the Let's Eat down here a little bit so that I have a couple inches to trim apart. Maybe something like this. So we're still not going to use like a ton of vinyl or anything like that, but I just want to make sure that I have some good margins so that I can cover up my blank and not get paint all over the place. And in case you guys did not know, once you move them here in the prep screen, this is exactly where they will cut on the mat. So I'm not going to have to do anything additional to that. We don't need to mirror anything since both of these are being cut out of adhesive vinyl. So then I'll click the green Continue button. And once my Maker 3 connects, I'll choose a cut setting for both of my mats. Now, the beautiful thing about using the Star Mask 900 stencil vinyl that we are using, that's the stencil vinyl that's like the mint green color in your mystery box, if you got a mystery box. The beautiful thing about it is that I just like to cut it on the regular vinyl setting as well. So the same setting that I use with StarCraft HD is the same setting that I use with stencil vinyl, which is great. The stencil vinyl is so nice to work with. You guys are going to love it if you've never worked with it before. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the first mat. I'll choose that cut setting again. And then I do want to check the remember material settings button so that I don't have to come back and change my cut setting in between mats. So now I'm already going to have these cut out by the time the live gets started. So now let's weed all the things and stencil all of our projects. All right, guys, we are back. So I hope that helped answer some of your questions and all the things. I hope it helps you set everything up so that you are all set to go when you go to make this project all by yourself. I love Star Mask myself. Kristen, I'm a huge fan. I love it so much. Hey, welcome, Phil. We are actually just getting started. Connie wants to know, when stenciling, do you Mod Podge on first to stop bleeding? Might be getting ahead of myself. No, that's a great idea, Connie, and I am going to show you how to do that because that's how I prefer to do it myself. Oh, good, Glazer's World. I don't know what your first name is, but I'm glad that you're making your own version. I know that not everybody can always jump on these boxes when they are available, so I'm glad that you're getting to do a version of these projects. Good. Okay, and I also gathered up some supplies from, like some cute little knickknacks from around my house that I'm going to show you a little bit about how I'm going to style my tiered tray. I may need to order some things on Amazon though, or make some other things, but we'll talk about that towards the end, what else I'm planning on doing, because there's a lot of different ways to do this, you know? So there's not just a one-size-fits-all answer. So typically, if we were starting the project from scratch, the first thing we would need to do is paint everything. But luckily, I already painted everything because I knew that this was going to be a little bit of a longer live. So I wanted to go ahead and get stuff out of the way. So I will go ahead and paint this little guy. So I have a second set of everything for my mystery box. So I'll go ahead and paint this just to like demonstrate it. But these are already dry. So I want to show you what they look like and what the differences are between some of them. So 3 of them I decided to do 2 coats of paint on, and 1 I just decided to do 1 coat because I wanted you guys to be able to see the differences between them all. So on these 2, I just did 1 coat, and you can kind of see they have like that whitewashed rustic look to them, but they're only like, you can still see the texture of the wood and everything, and you can see it with the 2 coats too, but it's a little bit more obvious with this. So if you're going for more of like the rustic look and like that's more important to you, then maybe 1 coat of chalk paint is all you need. And we are using the Starcraft white chalk paint. I'm going to show you why I had saran wrap over it in a second, but this is my absolute favorite chalk paint. So if you didn't get a mystery box and you need some, I've linked it for you guys in the description below. And all the supplies and actually some alternatives that I found are linked down in the description. So if you're watching this on the replay, or if you did not get a mystery box, then please feel free to check the description for all the supplies. And if I forgot something, let me know, because I usually try to put stuff in there, but sometimes I don't remember everything that I'm going to use. Let's see. Lisa wants to know, what Mod Podge are you going to be using? That is not super important, Lisa, because we're just going to use it to seal over the stencils, but I'm just using the glossy Mod Podge. So you'd probably not be able to see the matte Mod Podge quite as well. You'll probably see the glossy a little bit better if there's any holes that it's actually plugging up, but it's not, you know, you don't need to like have a specific kind for it. Just use what you have. Oh, good, Elizabeth. I'm so glad that you like it. Oh, cute. Kristen is going to use her blanks just around the house instead of using them on a tiered tray. Jennifer wants to know, did they show the winning designs for the 143 vinyl contest winners? You know, Jennifer, I did not see them, but you could search the hashtags 143 vinyl or hashtag DIY Alex on Facebook. And if you have the graphic up with everybody's names, you should be able to see what they looked like. So yeah, Roseanne said, I made my own tiered shelf with a charger plate from Dollar Tree, as well as a decorated smaller plate, and used a colorful glass for the piece between them. Still need to put on a handle. Oh, that's such a great idea. I love that, Roseanne. That's great. Because yeah, the tier trays are a little bit pricey. So then when you take a look at everything that I painted a second coat on, you can see a pretty significant difference in the brightness. In fact, I think it might be a little bit more dramatic on camera than it really is in person. So in the second coat of chalk paint that I did, you can still see the texture of the wood through it all, but it's definitely a more bright white. Oops, sorry guys, that was probably kind of loud. A little bit more of a bright white with 2 coats versus a muted white with a lighter coat. So we'll go ahead and set these aside since they are already dry, but I will just go ahead and paint the one piece, in case you guys have never seen anyone work with the chalk paint before. I wanted to show you a little bit of a demo, and then while that's drying, even though we don't really need it for this project, we'll go ahead and start, weeding everything. So let me grab a paintbrush for this because I'm always short on paintbrushes when I grab all my supplies. Good deal. All right, so let's see. I want to use a little bit of a bigger paintbrush. Here we go. I'll use this one maybe. Oh no, this one's perfect. So I don't know about you guys, but I always buy like a million packs of like these paintbrushes, like the variety paintbrushes. Show you guys bigger on the screen. So I always have like a bazillion of these, and I specifically buy these because I really like these like flat top paintbrushes. Those are my favorite kind to use. So I'm not even sure where this is from. It may be like, it's probably from Michael's or Walmart, honestly. But I like to have these variety packs because there's just so many different kinds of paintbrushes in them, and I'm always doing different types of projects. So the reason that I have the saran wrap over top of my chalk paint is because on the last few lives where I've had to use chalk paint, you guys may remember if you were here, I had trouble opening my jars because the chalk paint gets dried on the threads of the jar and it makes it super hard to open. So somebody messaged me and said, hey, if you put saran wrap over top of the container before you close it, that keeps the paint from drying out, but it also makes it easier to open. So I let it sit like this all night since I painted my last pieces. So let's see if this makes it easy. Oh my gosh, y'all. That was as easy as opening like a jar of anything. So shout out to, I believe it was Diana Hegseth, who suggested that. So super, super easy hack for just putting saran wrap over top of your whole jar. And then what you can do when you're ready to paint is you can either just get a new piece or you can just like pull the top half back so that you just have access to half of the jar. So literally so easy. Great job, Diana, for discovering this and for telling me. I'm so glad that you did. So I'm just gonna be pretty liberal with the paint here and give it plenty. Oh, well, that's helpful. My paintbrush is breaking apart. I'm just going to give it plenty of paint, really. There's not too much of a secret to painting with chalk paint. The nice thing about it is that it's just really simple to work with. And especially this kind of chalk paint. So chalk paint definitely is one of those things that you get what you pay for. I have used some really great chalk paints in life, and I have also used some really not so great ones. And the Starcraft one is one of my absolute favorites. I have every single color, several of them in more, like I have more than one jar because I'm so obsessed with these. They just have such great coverage and they just are awesome. So, one hack that I shared on my Instagram story last night that I discovered as I was painting mine is if you paint in the same direction as the grain of the wood, you can kind of see it over here on the right side with this little guy. If you paint in the same direction as the wood, sometimes the paint doesn't give quite even coverage. And if you're looking to get like that rustic look, then you can use a little bit less paint and kind of leave some of those pieces exposed a little, if you will. And that kind of gives it that farmhouse look if you're really, really into that. Some people care more about that than others, but I thought that on some of my pieces it ended up looking pretty cool, and I really liked it. So keep in mind when you do, if you do the saran wrap hack, that the top of it is going to be like covered in wet paint because the jar lid is touching it. So it does have some wet paint on it, so be careful. But as long as you just like pull it half back, then you can use it for like several uses of your jar. And I always forget a cup of water for my paintbrushes, but that's okay. Dee said, Alex, do you like the foam brushes? I do for some projects, Dee, especially for larger projects, but for small stuff like this, it doesn't really matter to me. I just use something quick and easy. Kristen wants to know, do I like the tool holder from 143 Vinyl? Yes, ma'am, I sure do. That's what this guy is over here in the corner. I know you guys can't really see it, but I really, really love this thing because I use it all the time. It enables me to move my tools from my heat press table back over here, back and forth a bunch, and I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Super cute. Okay. Yeah, and the tool holder is from 143 Vinyl also, so definitely check that out if you're interested. It comes in a bunch of different colors, which is really, really nice. So you can get it to match like your other tools from 143 if you want, or you know, if you have a favorite color or whatever, you can grab it with that. Okay, so typically what you would do first is you would need to be sure to paint everything. Obviously, I have the dry version all ready to roll. Then, while that would be drying, we can go ahead and weed these pieces. Let me zoom us in a little bit here, y'all. So that, well, I hope I can zoom us in. I think I can zoom us in. Hold on. I wonder if I can tap here and zoom. Nope. There we go. Now I can zoom us in a little bit so you guys can see better. But this way you guys can see me weed everything. Sorry, I got distracted by the by all the comments. Yep, D has it too. I love this one. Okay, so we have two different kinds of weeding that we need to do on these. So on the mint pieces that are going to be stenciled, in fact, you know what, we're gonna do these first. We can come back and work on these while the stuff for the stenciling is drying. So we'll set the two vinyl pieces aside and we'll weed all of the Star Mask vinyl first, which is this stuff, the mint vinyl. So like I said during the screen capture, and I still mean it, I really, really love the Star Mask vinyl. I just think it's really high quality. It works really well. It's not a pain like a lot of other really stiffer films that I have used in the past. But keep in mind whenever you are, you know what, I might have to get my bright pad again because these pieces are hard to see through. Whenever you are weeding for stenciling, remember that you're going to do what's called reverse weeding. So what that means is we're going to take out the parts of the vinyl that we would normally keep because those are the areas where we want the holes to be so that we can stencil our designs onto our pieces. So that's one definition of reverse weeding. It can be a little bit confusing because reverse weeding can also mean that people will put their vinyl unweeded onto their transfer tape, and then they'll actually weed from their transfer tape. So if you have a really, really intricate design, that can be super, super helpful as well. So if you guys have heard that term reverse weeding, that can actually kind of mean two different things, or at least I have seen it in two different contexts. So that can be a little bit confusing, especially if you are new. So I'm just going to weed out the centers of all these pieces. Sorry, y'all might see the top of my head a little bit or my hair in the camera because I have to get right over top of it so that I can see the letters. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a pain. There we go. There's the S, and we'll remove the apostrophe. There we go. Except we need to put the center of that little E back in there. So I always keep my stab and grab tweezers handy because in case you guys can't tell, the center of that E was lost when I pulled the vinyl up. So I'm going to use my tweezers to do what I like to call a little bit of vinyl surgery. And we will put that piece right back where it belongs. Or at least we're gonna try. It can be a little bit complicated when the pieces are tiny. All right, hold on. I'm gonna get real quiet because I gotta focus here for a second. Oop, there we go. All right, now let's just place it back in the center. When those pieces are super tiny, they don't have a lot of adhesive. so they can be a little bit stubborn to get them to stick. There we go. Nope. There. We'll just kind of push it in with our finger. So there is stencil number 1 all ready to roll. So looking super, super cute. All right. So now we'll move on to our next one. What's this one? Is this just the home one? Okay. This one is super easy because it goes on the little house. You can also use your stab and grab tweezers to weed. I know a lot of people, especially a lot of the 143 employees, like to use that. I think that I'm a little bit handier with the pin pen because it's a little sharper, but you can do whatever works for you. The stab and grab tweezers are great as well. They're honestly, if you don't have a set of stab and grab tweezers, I highly, highly recommend grabbing a pair because there's just no other. I've never used another craft tweezer like it. Like I even have a couple other brands, and I still prefer my stab and grabs from 143. Ooh, except my vinyl's getting all tangled on my fingers. There we go. And I also have my little iVine weeding berry linked down in the description as well. I always get lots of comments and questions on that guy. So I love having it around for my tiny little pieces while I weed. Okay, now, y'all, this one's going to be a challenge. So let me grab my bright pad. That will help us eliminate our cut lines a little bit so it's easier to see. So set these out of the way. So, oh darn it. Well, I don't know if you guys can tell, but that is literally zero help. Literally nothing. Because when I hold it up to the bright pad, it just goes straight through. So, sometimes it takes just a little bit of experimenting to see what the best solution is. So I'll put this back. And what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to hold it up to the light like this. I know you guys really can't see that well, but if you look in the front camera, I'm just holding it up to my studio lights so that I can see each of the pieces. And I may actually weed with my tweezers this time so that I can grab the pieces as I can see them. Of course, we want to watch the centers of our letters here. And the tricky part here is not going to be the text. It's going to be the little... I don't know, the little branches, little berry branch things down at the bottom of this design that's going to make it a little challenging. But I'm telling you, so I am like very passionate about, oh, look, there's an A on my hand. I'm very passionate about the Star Mask 900, you guys. And I know that doesn't sound like a big deal. Like, okay, Alex, that's nice. It's stencil vinyl. No, I'm telling you, stencil vinyl, I would normally say, I have not tried the new Cricut brand yet that just came out. I actually have some from my Joy that I have not cut yet. But the Star Mask, or excuse me, the stencil vinyl that I've used in the past is a pain. It's stiff. It's hard to cut. It doesn't, it just does not work very well for me, which is why in the past, before Star Mask was a thing, I would always just use regular permanent vinyl for all of my projects, like for all my stenciling projects, because honestly, there's really not usually too much of a reason that you have to have stencil vinyl, because you can just use permanent vinyl. But one of the reasons I do like stencil vinyl is because stencil vinyl does not have a permanent adhesive. So it doesn't, so like for example, on the wood that we are putting this on, that wood tends to it's a little thinner, so it can splinter a lot. And if you just use permanent vinyl and you end up leaving the permanent vinyl on for a long period of time, that can make it a super duper pain to pull off. Or it can even pull up parts of the wood with the vinyl when you pull it off. So that's something that is a benefit of using stencil vinyl, is that the adhesive is not as strong, and so it's less likely to pull up your pieces. Oh, okay, hang on. Got a little bit of a string going on here. So we'll go ahead and get rid of what we can now. And then I usually will keep scissors handy when I'm unsure of like what needs to be pulled up, and I'll just cut pieces off as I go. So we also need to find the I in family and pull that off there. And this is a good reason too, when you have something really, really intricate, or like the cut is really small, it's kind of nice to use stencil vinyl with it, because in this case, we are pulling up the really intricate part. You don't have to try to weed and save every small part like you do with vinyl, if that makes any sense. So I do like stencil vinyl in that aspect, because we are just getting rid of those pieces. We don't have to hang on to them. Like that would be super thin to cut out of permanent vinyl. Could we do it? Absolutely we could. But that would make it a little easier, since we're just like getting rid of it. We don't have to hang on to like every piece. Hey, Catherine, welcome. Oh, what are you guys are talking about? Hey, Carla, welcome. Boogie catcher. Oh, are you guys talking about okay, I think you're talking about the nail polish holder rings. Is that what you're talking about? I'm looking at the comments now. Jill said, I'm looking through 143 vinyl while watching you and opened a video about using crafty tools, and there you are as well. Yep. So that's funny, Jill. I don't know if all you guys know about that, but I worked at 143 vinyl for like 2.5 years. So in fact, some of the videos actually link over to my YouTube channel, because some of them are me. So you'll occasionally find me on the website there, or on my channel. If you look really, really deep, sometimes you'll find some like 143 product videos, and back in the day they were called 651 product videos. So I go way back with the 651 crew or the 143 vinyl crew now. Okay, perfect. You guys, look how easy that was. And that was stencil vinyl, and we cut something that intricate. You guys, that's remarkable. And you may not realize it's remarkable if you've never worked with stencil vinyl before, but I'm telling you, Star Mask is the best. It's the best there is, in my opinion. I haven't tried a better one yet. Okay, so now that we have all of this where we want it, oh my goodness, this vinyl is just not giving up today. Okay, so now we need to put it on transfer tape, and we need to transfer it over to our pieces. I think, is it Candace who always loves the parchment paper method? I grabbed some parchment paper for you. Candace said, why did they change the name? So Candace, the long and short of it is that they legally, there was like a lawsuit, and they ended up deciding to change their name. They were not, I don't know that they were forced. I think it was mostly a choice, but that's the long and short of it, is that they had to change it because lawsuits, and it was a real pain. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put everything on. Oh, okay, there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and put everything on transfer tape, and then we're gonna use the parchment paper method to place all of our stencils. Then we're going to put Mod Podge on all of them to make sure we seal that stencil down to the surface really nicely. And then we'll go ahead and cut it. Those of you guys who are here in Louisville, did you guys hear about like all the crazy storms we were supposed to get? Did you guys get any bad storms? Because my weather app earlier was like going crazy, telling me that like there was like penny-sized hail on the way, and it was all this crazy stuff. And so I like put my car in the garage, I put the plants away. I was like, okay, like I'm ready for this big crazy storm. And then we got like 5 minutes of wind. But that could just be where I am. Maybe some of you guys got it really, really bad. But my like weather app in this case was like way, way dramatic for what we actually received. So I am using the StyleTech Clear Medium Tack Transfer Tape. That is by far my favorite transfer tape, just far and away. It's just the best of the best. It's not super sticky. The StarCraft transfer tape is very similar, and I like it as well. But I think the StyleTech is slightly less sticky, and so I like it better because with transfer tape, you actually want less stick, not more. Because all you need to do is transfer it. You can let the vinyl be the sticky stuff, and you shouldn't really need to worry too much about the transfer tape. So I'll just quickly burnish all of this. And now we'll go ahead and transfer it over to our surfaces. All right, so this Gather with Family one is the biggest, and it goes on the square. So I cut a piece of parchment paper already. So if you guys are not familiar with the parchment paper hack, I'm about to blow your mind. I know you guys love this one that have been around for a while because it is so helpful with placement. So the way that you're going to do the parchment paper method is first you need to obviously add transfer tape to your vinyl, and then you peel the backing off of the vinyl itself. And then what you want to do is you want to take your parchment paper and you want to put it so that there's a little bit of the top. Oh wait, let me turn it around so it's less confusing. Okay. So this is the back of my vinyl decal, okay? And you want to leave a little bit of the top exposed, but you want to cover most of your vinyl with the parchment paper. And what this allows us to do is it allows us to reposition our vinyl before we like finally choose a placement. So that way we can move it around if we change our mind. So I'm using this on here because I want to make sure that I can visualize and see everything, and that once I place the vinyl down, it's not off center or anything like that. So I don't know how well you guys can see it through the camera. Actually, you can. Since the star mask is a little bit transparent and so is the parchment paper, you can kind of see through the vinyl to make sure that we are good and centered on the blank. I think that looks pretty good. So did you guys see how that like slid off of there? Until you push down this top stripe of transfer tape, and even then you could probably still move it. But that's why we use the parchment paper method, so that we can reposition without really messing up our vinyl or without sticking too much to our blank. Okay, so now that I'm happy with that placement, I'm gonna go ahead and push down that top part that we left exposed from the parchment paper. And then I'll lift up the vinyl and the transfer tape, and I can pull out the parchment paper. And then now I can slowly, whoops, I'm stuck to the table a little bit, but I can slowly lower the vinyl and transfer tape down onto my blank. I'm gonna use my squeegee to do it so that I don't get any bubbles in it. And there we go. So then once we have everything good and burnished, and I actually cut this a little bit big for my piece, but that's okay. Doesn't really matter because we're just stenciling here where the cutouts are. So once I have this all burnished down, now I can go ahead and remove the transfer tape. And pull it on back, just like that. So now we'll go ahead and repeat that same process with the other pieces. And I'm just gonna stick this to my roll to use at a later date, because that's a good size piece that I can definitely use in the future. All right, so I've got that stuck down. And next we'll do the little house. So stinking cute, I love it. We'll just repeat the same process. It looks like I have a little piece on the front of my vinyl there. So I'm gonna leave a little stripe exposed at the top of my vinyl again, kind of like that, with the rest covered. Then we can double check the placement here. And this is super sheer, both of them are sheer, so I can see the outside of both. And make sure that I have it exactly where I want it. I don't think I want to go super high into the roof. I think I want to do something like that. So once I'm happy with the placement again, I'll just push down the top area, lift up the vinyl and transfer tape, and then slowly lower this down. Then we will remove transfer tape. Looks like we had a little piece of something get stuck to the front there. There we go. That's better. All right. And I'll stick this piece of transfer tape over top of it as well, so I can reuse it. Then we'll repeat that process one last time for our little cutting board. Hey, Ashley, welcome. Let me see if I can read your comments from over here. That way I can see you and talk to you as we go. Hey, Jennifer, welcome. That's true, Jennifer. It is mint everywhere. Absolutely. Okay, Dee said that they got tons of storms, so I guess some of Louisville did get it. You know, I did not make anything for May the 4th, Ashley. I have to say, nobody judge me or be mad at me, but I am not a Star Wars fan. So I don't usually do anything about May the 4th other than joke about it. Oh, good. Kristen's been watching my cup series. Love it. Kristen, it's totally worth it. Honestly, just jump in, girlfriend, because you're never going to be fully comfortable. You just got to get started. Oh, that's cool, Candace, that tomorrow's your birthday. I love that. So fun. No storms there. Good, good. Yeah, you do, Ashley. This stencil vinyl is the bomb. It's actually worth it. Renee said it poured there where she is. Cool, cool. Oh my gosh, Kristen, it is so stinking hot here because of like the crazy storms. I walked outside and I wore leggings and this t-shirt and actually like a light sweatshirt to get my nails done this morning because it said it was only 66 outside when I left. So I thought, well, it could be a little chilly still. By the time I left Walmart, it was literally sweltering. I'm sure because of the storms and everything, but I was like, oh my gosh, I am definitely not dressed correctly for the weather today. All right. So then once this last piece is all finished, we'll just go ahead and ease it down with our fingers this time. So you don't have to use the squeegee, but I do think it helps. And I'll save this for when we do the other pieces of vinyl as well. Next, we're going to go ahead and paint a layer of Mod Podge all over the stencil. And what this does is it kind of plugs up any holes that are, or any gaps that are between the vinyl and the wood. So when we actually go to lay the paint over top, all of those are already plugged with Mod Podge. So that's what I meant when I said that you might be able to see my glossy Mod Podge underneath the, like underneath the stencils a little bit, but I would rather see glossy clear Mod Podge than a bunch of paint, you know? So I think it's definitely still a better alternative. So let me grab a paintbrush real quick. And actually, I'm going to grab a solo cup and I'm going to pour some of my water into a cup because I don't want all my paintbrushes to dry out. So give me just a second. I'm going to grab a few things. A red solo cup for our paintbrushes. And, oh yeah, I have this thingy over here. All right. I'm just going to pour a little bit of water from my water cup into a solo cup so that we can have a little cup for our brushes. That way, my brushes don't all dry out because I always forget that. Do you guys remember? That reminds me of art class as a kid for some reason. We always would have like these huge cups that were like super, that were like, had all these crazy colors all over them from using them with paintbrushes. Did you guys ever do that in school? It always reminds me of like art class when I was a kid. Nikki said, from North Dakota, rain over but lots of flooding. Can't even leave our small town. Enjoying your teaching, first time, learning a lot. Oh, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here, but I hope that you stay safe with all the flooding. I know that can be very scary. It can definitely be scary, for sure. All right, so I'm just going to use a smaller brush since I'm not too worried about like the coverage size. This will be nice and quick and easy. But what I usually like to do is I like to pour a little bit of Mod Podge into like a little medicine cup or something. That way I'm not just dipping straight into the jar itself. And I guess technically you could because my brush is clean. But just in case anything is like dirty on my brush, I never like to dip directly into my Mod Podge, especially because I use Mod Podge a lot for glitter and things like that. So I don't like to stick anything directly into the jar itself. So when you begin with stencil vinyl, you're literally just going to do what it sounds like, and you're just going to paint a layer of Mod Podge all the way over it like this. Doesn't need to be anything special or anything fancy. That way we just seal that right on there and plug the holes. And of course that's gonna dry clear, so no big deal. Don't need to be super neat or anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick this towards the top since it's done. That way we can let these dry while we work on the pieces that are just gonna be vinyled. Trying to keep up with your comments and focus at the same time. It's hard to do. Oh yeah, that's true. You could do that as well, Lisa. Hey, Sydney, welcome. I'm so glad you decided to join us. Welcome, welcome. All right, that one's good. So stick this up this way. And last but not least, we'll get this guy all squared away. Oh. Is it just me or does it feel like Friday or something? It's only Tuesday. Oh my goodness. What a day, y'all. What a day. Oh, and so speaking of, I said this on my Instagram stories, but I know you guys don't always all see all that stuff. So I do still owe you the giant paper flower live. I think we may have already talked about that, but I can't remember. So I will get that done as soon as I can. I'm thinking, honestly, guys, it'll probably be next week before I can get you the giant paper flower live, mostly because I love flowers, but they do take a long time. So once I cut them, like cutting them takes a long time and then assembling takes them a long time. It's not difficult to do at all. It's just time consuming. So this week is a short week for me because of Derby and everything. And there's just I'm under a lot of deadlines and a lot of crazy stuff, all good things. Just keeping me super, super busy. So, I will probably get you that that video next week. So stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, keep sharing your projects in the group because I love seeing what you guys are crafting. It really is so much fun for me to see your takes on it. I love that. Okay, so now I'm actually going to pour some of this back into my Mod Podge jar because there's really still plenty left in here. But all we need to do now is let that dry. And then we'll be able to stencil over top of it. So while it's drying, that's why I wanted to save the weeding of the regular vinyl pieces for now, so that while that's drying, we still have plenty of stuff to do and talk about. All right, so now we have that. I'll put this brush in my brush cup, keep it over here. And now we'll do the vinyl pieces. So you have tons of options in the way that you can decorate your blanks. I mean, honestly, whatever you want to do, you can stencil your stuff, you can vinyl your stuff, you could, oh my gosh, you could take this so many different ways. Kristen said, how are your roses coming on your Derby sign? I have not cut a single other one, Kristen. I have so much stuff to do still. So if you guys saw my stories the other day, I have my Derby decorations that I'm working on. Yes, Derby is at the end of this week. No, they're not finished. And I started my roses. I cut about 32 of them, and I stayed up really late that night rolling them, and then I was watching Netflix, so I was up super late because also the show was really good. So I just decided to go ahead and roll everything, you know, doing fine. I was like, oh, this will get a lot done. Well, it covered about 50% of what I needed to cover. So I still have quite a few roses to cut, probably about double. But I did do a few things that were helpful with it. I cut, so I happen to have 12 by 24 paper, which I know is really unusual for most crafters, but when you're cutting huge amounts of rolled paper flowers, 12 by 24 paper is a godsend because you can cut so many more at once. And so I am able to cut like 8 flowers per piece of paper. Hold on, there should be, okay, there's a piece at the bottom that I need to make sure to save. There we go. You guys, I love StarCraft HD, which is this type of vinyl, because that was so easy. I just love it. But anyway, so I cut about 50% of what I needed to cut and rolled it all. I still have a long way to go. And I'm going to try to go live with you guys while I craft those. And that may be tonight, actually. I'm really not sure. But depending on what time it is and how tired I am, I may not get to it. But I was really hoping to be able to do that because I just thought it would be so fun for you guys to, you know, chit chat and watch along. Okay, so this was the one in the live that had in the pre-recording that has like the buffalo plaid pieces. So I'm going to keep a pair of scissors handy while I weed this because as I'm pulling these off, I want to be super careful not to let any of these pieces go. I think most of them are attached. Okay, hold on. We're going to have to like look super close here and make sure that these pieces are not coming up when they're not supposed to. This is why I didn't want to do this in stencil vinyl because this is a bit intricate and a bit more challenging because it's a circle. So these pieces are not, because these little tiny stripes are like, I don't know how to explain it, like kind of sliced out of a circle, if you will. So that does make it a little bit challenging. We got to watch everything and make sure that no little pieces come off, which is difficult. All right, we're gonna start the cuts. And this is how I like to cut, or how I like to weed really intricate things. Not that these are super intricate, but this way I can like check the piece of vinyl, see if anything got lost or got stuck. I don't think so. Maybe that little piece, but I'm willing to let the little tiny corner pieces go just because I don't want to drive myself crazy trying to get every single little piece. Yep, missing one little guy right there. I can always place it later if I can just get it off the tweezers. There we go. All right, so we'll keep on working. Hi, Margaret, how are you? Is that someone watching with you, Catherine? Dee said, Alex, did you make your own fascinator? No, I did not. I actually went to Dee's craft store in St. Matthews. Okay, so this is a super cool story that I'm going to try to tell and weed at the same time. So let's see if I can multitask. So if you guys are not from here, there is a craft store called Dee's. And they mostly carry things like wreath supplies. Where's that piece at? Oh, it's just very skinny. So we're just going to let that one go. They mostly carry wreath supplies, but I don't know if this is all the time. If any of you people who are from Louisville know this, maybe you'll be able to answer better than me. But a third of their store is like dedicated to derby hats right now. And I don't know if that's all year long or if that's just during derby season. But I went to Dee's craft store and I took my dress in. And I knew kind of what I was looking for, but it's really, really neat because the ladies at Dee's will help you design your fascinator, or your hat, depending on whatever you decide to do. And I went in originally fully planning on doing a hat, not a fascinator, but I fell in love with that fascinator base. So you literally just start with like a base color, and then you build on top of it using all the pieces. So I brought my dress with me and they like matched everything that I picked out to my dress to make sure that it matches literally perfectly. And it was the most fun experience. And in fact, I had a lady named Christy who helped me. And then she subscribed to my YouTube channel because we got to talking about like what I do and stuff. And she ended up subscribing. So hi, Christy, if you're watching this. She did such an amazing job of putting everything together. because I have done like a few little derby DIYs, but that is not normally like my medium. I'm just not, I don't have a lot of experience with that. So when I found out that they had this ability to do this at D's, I was like, absolutely, I want to go and do this. And it was so much fun. So we put all the pieces together. We kind of coordinated it together. I had some input, but then she had some ideas. And then at the end, they end up having to assemble it for you. So you do have to leave it there. And then you go back and get it. So I went back and I think I picked it up like 2 days later or something. Because they have to go ahead and glue it together. So they use glue and they sew it. And they custom assembled it for me. And it was honestly the coolest experience. Okay, D said that D's is about the biggest in town for derby and has been for years. That's kind of what I thought. That's what I thought, Ashley, about busting out my light pad. I used it, well, it didn't work earlier. Let's see if it works with the black vinyl. What I have found with the bright pad is that some things it's really helpful for, and some things it's really not helpful for. Like when we turned it on with the, so you can see it with the black vinyl, so it's helpful. But when we used it with the stencil vinyl, you literally couldn't see a thing. So sometimes it's useful, sometimes it's not super useful. But it is really handy for like HTV or for darker pieces. Sometimes it works. I sometimes will just get it out and try it and see if it helps. It's a trial and error thing for me because sometimes I love it and sometimes I find that it's not helpful at all. So I do a little bit of both. Ooh, oh, gosh. These little pieces are such little rebels. There. I think that was right there. There we go. You really got to watch your vinyl when you're weeding this one. You want to see every little piece that comes off. Oh, Dee said Dee used to have a YouTube channel and show them. Yeah, you know what? They did tell me that they had tutorials. Like when I went into Dee's to talk to them about it, they told me that they had tutorials, and I definitely could have taken the tutorial route. But I was like, this is such a cool experience. Even though I'm a crafter and I'm probably capable of doing a lot of this on my own, I kind of just don't want to. Like it was such a cool thing to go and do that I personally think it was well worth it. But they did suggest that to me. And I know a lot of women here in Louisville do DIY their hats and their fascinators and stuff. You know what? I'm just gonna pull the centers of the letters out of that. Well, it's gonna mess up my pattern a little, but that's okay. We'll just pull out the centers. That way I can make sure I can grab everything. I knew this one would be a little challenging to weed, but I may have slightly underestimated the amount of challenging it was going to be. Not so much that it's impossible to do, but that it's hard to concentrate and also weed something complicated on a live. There we go. All right, got that piece. Good deal. So we'll weed out. So this part needs to go. That's another thing you have to watch when you're doing this is as you have like patterns and stuff, you have to decide like, make sure that you're consistently pulling out the same pieces because this has an offset all the way around it that needs to be pulled out. Okay, let me see. Is there a piece up there? There sure is. I thought so. It's hard to see with the light right underneath it sometimes. Sorry guys, it's hard for me to concentrate on that really well and talk at the same time. There we go. That's better. I'm just slowly watching it to see if I see anything disappear. There we go. All right, we're really making progress now. We're getting a lot closer. Okay, So I'm going to pull out the center of that E. I'm going to pull out the whole center of the O, including these pieces to stay consistent with some of my other pieces, and this V. So I don't know if you guys have heard me say this before, but I do not like to weed. I know that a lot of you are probably like, oh my gosh, I really don't. So I just kind of make it work for me. Like in the centers, oh gosh, we missed like a good chunk there, I think. But that's okay. It's going to be what it's going to be. So I will just, when I work on these kinds of projects, I just make it as easy as I can for myself. Oh man, yeah, we missed a few pieces there, here and there. But that's all right. You guys will get the idea, right? So we'll leave that the way that it is. Missed a few pieces here and there. Didn't get it exactly right, but in fact, I might grab this one. Well, that one's attached. Nope, we'll leave it. Okay, guys, this is one of those moments where I have to not be a perfectionist, and that's really hard. But we're going to choose to enjoy the creative process despite the fact that everything is not perfect. That's what I'm going to tell myself. So if you're a recovering perfectionist like me, oops, that's not big enough. That's what you have to tell yourself sometimes. And that's kind of the beautiful thing really about the creative process is if you let perfection stop you, then you'll never have any fun. So you have to actively tell yourself that this is more about the joy of creating than it is about the final result. And that can be super, super challenging at times, but it's also a really, really great thing. I feel like I have grown a lot as a person through it because if you are a type A perfectionist like me, you know how much that can make life really hard. So I just prefer to, now that I'm a recovering perfectionist, I prefer to enjoy the process rather than let, the painstaking trying to find each one of these pieces and take an hour to weed this to make sure I get it perfect. I just prefer to have fun and let it go. And I find the more that I practice that, like the better that I get at it. So that's always my goal with everything. That's my little take on it. Yep, I agree, Roseanne. Perfection is 1,000% overrated. Oh, that's okay, Jessica. Welcome. We're still going strong, friend. We still got a lot. Oh, Ashley, you went to Garden of the Gods. That's so cool. Now, I've never been to Garden of the Gods, but my husband has, and he said it was super, super cool. Oh, that's such a good idea, Renee. You could just use plaid vinyl. That's great. Love that idea. Belle, we are working on the tiered tray blanks that came with the Spring Farmhouse Mystery Box. That's what we are working on. Jill said, this looks like a sublimation file instead. Amen, sister. Absolutely. Absolutely. Renee said, I ordered a mini rolling pin from Amazon for my tiered tray. It came with 5 mini rolling pins and 5 mini cutting boards. I saw so many cute things on Amazon, you guys. And I linked a few in the description if you want to go check them out. For other assets and other things that you can add to your tiered tray to make it so stinking cute. All right, I'm going to go ahead and squeegee this one more time. Hopefully this isn't going to give us too much grief with peeling off the backing. So I kind of figured between the two that it would be easier to weed this SVG out of black vinyl rather than to weed this out of stencil vinyl. Because though I do think the stencil vinyl is great, it doesn't weed quite as easily as permanent vinyl because it just has a different film to it. So I'm going to leave that stripe at the top like we always do. And I'm going to use the parchment paper method on this one just to line it up around the edges. But of course, this time we're not stenciling. We're just going to leave it in place. But this is going to make things 1,000 times easier to see when placing it. Like, oh my gosh, 1,000,000 times easier. So I don't know how well you guys can see that, but I can kind of see the edges of the blank through my parchment paper. So now that I know it's exactly where I want it, I'm just going to stick down the top, pull out my parchment paper, then, it might scoot around on me a little bit, but I can squeegee it down to try to get as few bubbles as possible. Oh, and I've got some vinyl there that I need to weed out, but that's okay. Goodness gracious. All right. So we'll go ahead and remove the transfer tape. And if those little pieces want to come off, we'll just let them come off. So another great thing about reusing your transfer tape is that it's way less sticky the second time, whether it's the clear medium tack or something else. So that would have been awful to use with like super sticky transfer tape. So that's a tip for you too, is that it gets easier when your transfer tape is not brand new. Hold on. I didn't see some of these, but some of these need to be weeded out. So there's the, oh, well, that's really funky. Okay. I'm going to cut a couple of these with my X-Acto knife. Where is my X-Acto knife? Oh, I stuck it over here. Where did I put it? There it is. It almost looks like the file might not be quite right because some of those parts are like, those stripes are not consistent. So what I'll do is I'll just take my X-Acto knife and just boop, cut those edges right there so I can weed off anything that needs to go. And then for the rest, we'll leave it alone. There we go. I think that's, I don't know. I don't know if I'm grabbing the right pieces or the wrong pieces, y'all. We're just going to have it so that there's every other stripe. And we're not going to let it bother us today because perfection is overrated, just like Roseanne said. Ooh, okay. Those stripes are all jacked now, but that's okay. They're a little messed up, but that's all right. Maybe on this one, I'll just take out the middle piece. I think that that's the better way. Yep. Boom. All right. She's a little messed up, but we like her anyways. Turned out pretty cute. And it actually still worked really well to just go ahead and apply the vinyl. But if you guys do not have this tool, or if you don't have a 143 vinyl ball or a tennis ball, or excuse me, sorry, words. Let me try that again. If you don't have a 143 vinyl ball, then you can use a tennis ball to roll over top of your vinyl and transfer tape. And that is super helpful when your wood is not sealed to help really work it into the grooves of the vinyl. Now that this is already on the blank, I don't really need to do that. I just wanted to make sure you guys knew about that trick because it makes a world of difference. So you can grab these on 143 Vinyl's website if you want to, or you can just use a tennis ball, or as you can tell, this is essentially a bouncy ball. So that's an option for you too. What did you say, Belle? Loving the sound effects. I know. Sometimes I just like make all the noise. Make all the noise. Oh, good, Catherine. I'm so glad we could make her day. I'm glad you're here, Margaret. Ashley said, so awesome. Took some pics in my Star Wars shirt for tomorrow. Oh, good. I'm so glad. Mona said, there goes my perfectionism with spelling. I'm telling you, Mona, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Perfection is hard. It really is. And words are also hard. Oh, good. I'm so glad you're here, Phil. Thanks for hanging out with me. Yeah, Ashley. So basically what this does is if your vinyl, or excuse me, words. If your wood is not sealed, then you're just using the 143 vinyl ball, which I will tell you, I helped develop this product. And this is a very specific hardness of this bouncy ball. We tested a lot of different bouncy balls to find the right one. So we really did take the time to pick the right one. But this guy is awesome because it really helps. So if you're not going to be sealing your wood and you don't want to take the time to do that, then if you keep pulling up your vinyl and transfer tape and your vinyl won't stick, use this or use a tennis ball over top and just roll it with lots of good pressure and you're golden. Golden. So I did want to get that out and show you guys that trick in case you've never seen it. Okay, so I'm assuming this Mod Podge is dry now, so we're gonna go ahead and stencil all of these, and then we'll do the mason jar. So that way we have some time in between to let things dry. All right, so I have this really fancy box full of stuff. That's where I have everything stored for my project. So let me grab my paint. What else do I need? That's it for now. That's just a bunch of other random stuff. All right, so we have this, and now I need something for my paint. So let me grab a paint palette thingy. My small one is already in use, so I'll just use this. Okay, so with stenciling, let's talk about stenciling real quick. You can stencil with any kind of paint. I usually prefer to use chalk paint or acrylic paint, either one. And the best technique for doing it is to actually use a flat bottom brush like this one. So this is called a stippling brush, and it has this flat bottom, and that's like the technical way to stencil. Of course, could you just take a paintbrush and paint over this? Absolutely, you could. But if you want to get technical and you want to give a little bit of a rustic look to it, I recommend using a stippling brush. That's my favorite way to do that. Yes, and Ashley sells, okay, so you guys, in case you don't know, Ashley is Chip Builds, that is in our comments right now, and she has an awesome Etsy shop. So go check her out if you haven't yet. She sells lots of cute tiered tray blank sets that are just adorable. And of course, my little brush is like the exact size of my thing. So I'm gonna make sure I don't have a ton of excess paint on the bottom. And the way that you use this stippling brush is like you're kind of just like gonna stamp it down all over your blank. So I'm just gonna go like this. Whoops, I splattered a little onto the handle, but that's okay. I probably have a little more paint than I need. I'm just gonna stipple it down like this and grab each piece. There we go. So it doesn't give a super even look. It kind of gives a little bit more of a, almost like a sponged on look, if you will. But I really like the way that it looks. I think it's pretty awesome. So we'll set that aside to dry. Now we don't want to let it dry completely. I like to let mine dry about 50%. And in fact, I think I'm just, because I had a little too much paint on this one, I think I'm just gonna not add any more paint. We're gonna see how far we can get on this one. We're just gonna repeat that same technique of like stamping down like this. And there we go. See, we didn't even have to add any new paint. Now we'll probably have to add some for the big one because that's going to have the most surface area to cover, but we'll see how far we can get. Okay, so now we're going to follow that process on this guy as well. We'll get as far as we can without adding any more paint. I think we can finish this line, and then we probably will have to add a little bit more. But as you can see, that actually worked a lot better when I didn't have as much on my brush. So less is definitely more, especially if you're using a really spongy stippling brush like this, then you really don't need a lot of paint. I have some with bristles though. So they have a flat bottom, but it's like all the bristles are cut off flat at the bottom. And that one ends up requiring a little bit more paint than the spongy ones do. Just because I think it just doesn't soak it up the way that the sponge does. So we'll just keep on stamping. You do want to watch the edges of your stencils here. Make sure that you get coverage all the way, like kind of past the ends. Because if you just go right to the end, you may miss a little piece. So I suggest you go out a little bit wider than what your stencil requires you to. And yeah, so now we're all stenciled. We'll give this some time to dry while we work on the vinyl mason jar, and then we'll be able to pull it off. And we may not be able to style the tier tray with those just yet. We might want to let it dry a few more minutes. But that's the long and short of it, y'all. It's really pretty simple. Okay. So we'll let our brushes keep soaking while we keep working. Oh, thanks, Kristen. She said, bravo to painting on your self-healing mat. You guys, if you do not, and you know what, that's a good point, Kristen, because I never talk about this, but if you do not have a self-healing mat underneath your craft stuff, then you need to change that like right now. My self-healing mat protects my work surface from literally everything, because even though I feel like I'm relatively like an organized crafter, but with like paint and stuff, oh my gosh, and even vinyl, I am a hot mess. And so I always am crafting on top of a self-healing mat. And underneath the self-healing mat, my table's actually kind of a mess because I didn't always use a self-healing mat before, like when I got this table, because I did not know about such magical things. But once I tried my first self-healing mat, I was like, I will never not have one of these down for the rest of forever. It is amazing for keeping your surface less messy, for protecting the surface of your table if you're like me, and you're just kind of messy. I can use my X-Acto knife on it and everything, and it's just all ready for me to go. And also, partially, guys, it's a camera thing because cameras do not like a plain white surface to focus on. That makes it really, really difficult for them to focus. So part of why I have a self-healing mat down started out because of my camera. It wasn't focusing on my plain white table. So I put this down, and that has changed my life for the better, for sure. All right, so I'm going to use a parchment paper method again to transfer our design over to the mason jar. Yeah, and I'm still going to do that, even though I'm going to be really, really careful to not stick down those top pieces from the mason jar where they're so thin. There's a chance that that little guy might get stuck, but we'll figure it out. All right. And I just love, I'm sure you guys saw that in the pre-recorded section of our tutorial, but I love that these SVGs were like made with a background because they literally line up so perfectly. Like the edges go all, or the SVG file goes all the way to the edges, and it totally looks like it was meant to be there. Makes it so easy. So we'll remove our parchment paper. Just squeegee on down. Boom. Plus, this transfer tape is the second use of, or oh my gosh, guys, sorry. Let me speak some English for you. This is the second use of this transfer tape, which could be why I had some trouble getting the vinyl off the backing because it's a little less sticky. But honestly, I would take that all day long over super sticky transfer tape because look how easily that removes. Literally so easy, like a piece of cake. So how cute are our first two pieces? We love our Love Lives Here, even though she's a little wild. She's a little irregular with her stripes. We love her anyways. And then this is the Home Sweet Home. And I did use, this is the matte StarCraft HD in black. So if you got the mystery box, that's the color that you got. But I do recommend using matte vinyl on these if you can. That way you don't see like that shine that would go against like the coating on the wood. It would look a little funky, but use matte if you have it, because that's gonna look better. So there's our first two pieces. Let's see if our other pieces are ready to pull. They're still looking pretty wet. I usually like to pull them while they are wet, but not completely wet. So it does get a little bit messy. So I don't know how well you guys can see that, but in between, there it goes. You can kind of see it in the light. So it's pretty much dry on the open areas of the stencil. It's just wet on the stencil area. So be prepared. I have a trash bag right next to me because when you pull these off, they are going to be messy because the paint is still wet on top of the vinyl. And of course, it's not going to want to pull easily because that's my day, but that's all right. All right, so I'm just sticking this in my trash bag. I actually have it hanging off of my camera stand over here. There we go. This looks really good so far. Let me finish pulling off the rest of the vinyl. There we go. Oops, oh my goodness. Ah, we smudged it a little bit. Darn it. That's okay. Just gives it a rustic look, right? That's what we're going with today. Since we're aiming for a rustic look, we're just going to say that everything gets a rustic look. All right. You guys, this turned out so cute. How adorable is this going to be on a tiered tray? Oop, get that little center of that E. Alrighty. There we go, so close. All right. Oh my goodness. The only thing, I don't like getting the centers of the letters because it can kind of cause you to smudge your paint a little bit. But I don't like to let it dry completely because I've had my paint flake off a little bit. So I guess I'd rather take a risk of like half wet paint. But there's our first one. It's still drying a little bit, but look how cute. Ah, these just turned out to be so fun. I knew they were going to. I knew it, I knew it. Irma said, can you use a heat tool to dry the paint? Could I? Yes, but I also don't want to let my vinyl get too stuck to my blank. So I'm probably not going to. I wouldn't use a heat gun in this case because I don't want to like really accidentally get the vinyl too stuck to the wood and have it pull up. Thanks, Ashley. I like them. Belle said Alex is the female to Michael's Hot Mess Express. Cuteness overload. You guys are the best. Thanks, y'all. Ah, so cute. Okay. So now let's pull off the next one. Grab this little home piece. And this one should be really easy because if the vinyl comes off well, there shouldn't be that much to pull off. So this one will be a little simpler. Oh, there we go. So much better. Okay. Now we just have a couple pieces to pull. Sorry if that shakes the camera a little bit. That would be me messing with my trash bag. All right. There's that piece. And then this O. There we go. Alrighty. So there's piece number 2. Ah, you guys, I'm dying at how these turned out. And I know the SVGs were like basically this exact thing, but seeing them in person is just like so much cuter. I'm obsessed. Okay, this one's gonna take us a minute, so I'm gonna start pulling my pieces off, but obviously since it's a bigger piece of vinyl, it's gonna have a lot more to pull off. So we'll just be prepared for that. And that will just have to be okay. All right. Actually, it wasn't too bad. Believe it or not, I was thinking that a lot less was going to pull off with that. And now, my new nails have paint all over them, but luckily, this stuff will all come off super easy. No big deal. Be really careful not to touch the tray, listen to me. Be careful not to touch the blank while you're pulling off all the pieces. Especially this one because it's a little bit larger. It's like hard to pull off. There we go. Oh, so close. Sorry, y'all. I can't really read your comments while I pull these pieces off because I have to be able to see. All right. Let's see if we can get a bigger piece of this and get this guy started down at the bottom. Ha! So much better. Okay. There's just like paint and vinyl everywhere. Oh. Hold on. Got stuff stuck to me. Okay. That's kind of the good and the bad thing about using Mod Podge down first is that this vinyl is like super de-duper stuck. It is very well stuck. It's not just, you know, applied and then removed because we put the Mod Podge down first. We like really, really stuck it. Here we go. Oh, yay. Okay, guys, we're almost done. Let me grab that. And the A. And the L. Oh, you guys, look how cute it turned out. And honestly, I don't know how well you guys will be able to see the differences in the camera. There's not a crazy amount of difference between stenciling and using the matte vinyl. Now, if you were using glossy vinyl, you would see quite the difference. But when you're looking at it, there's really not. So let's compare them. We'll use a mason jar to the Gather with Family. There's really not a ton of difference. The stenciling is actually even a little bit more matte than the vinyl, but they actually aren't that different. So if you're kind of between the two, just do whatever you prefer. If you prefer to stencil, go for it. If you prefer to vinyl, then go for that too. Let me catch up on your comments. Oh, I'm glad you love it, Carla. I'll show you in a second what a tiered tray is, Carol. Just a moment. Yeah, Ashley has lots of cool interests, you guys. You should check out her Etsy shop. Carla, so the reason that I painted down a layer of Mod Podge first is because I wanted to be able to plug any holes between the stencil vinyl and the, so like in case there's any gaps around the stencil vinyl, when you go to put the paint down, let's see if you can see it on this one. You kind of can a little bit. So like if you check out around that R, as I like put it in the light there, you can see some glossy areas where the Mod Podge like plugged up that area. You might not be able to see it on the camera, but I can see it with my eyes. So there's a little bit of glossiness around that R, and what that is the Mod Podge went down and plugged any areas that the stencil vinyl didn't cover so that we don't do it with our black paint. Somebody else brought up that you could also do that with your base paint. So instead of using Mod Podge, you could just use like the white chalk paint, and you could do that instead. I usually just do Mod Podge, but there's really not a right answer there. You can do whatever you want. So there's a full picture of our tiered tray stuff. So let's talk about a couple pieces to finish this up. So Ashley gave me a really good tip. I'm gonna grab a Sharpie and I'll show you what I'm gonna do with this. So this tip was from Ashley from Chip Builds that you guys are seeing in the comments right now. She suggested that after you paint, you can take a Sharpie and kind of color the edges to keep that black look that was there from when they were cut by the laser. And that gives them a super sharp look. So how cool is that? That was such a great tip. I definitely wanted to be sure to share that. I thought it was such a cool idea. And that way, if you're like me and you're kind of a sloppy painter and you get paint over the sides, which I think we probably all will, then you can make sure that your edges look super, super pretty. Like areas like this, where there's like a ton of overhang, you can just color over the side. and keep that looking black. So that's one way that you can finish up your pieces. Of course, you don't have to go that far if you don't want to, but I thought that was such a great tip. I couldn't not share it. We've shared all kinds of tips in this live today. Lots and lots of great tips and tricks and hacks for making everything look so nice. So that's one tip for you for finishing things up. Now let's take a look at the tiered tray and I'll show you guys some different stuff with that. Ruth said, have to go to school pickup. I'll catch the rest later. Super cute so far. Thanks, Ruth. I'm so glad that you're here. I think so too, Carla. I think it really gives it a finished look. So thanks, Ashley, for that, because that is amazing. Yeah, Ashley said such a simple hack that makes a difference. It really does. Like, especially seeing that looks so much more finished. And Kristen said easier than taping. Agreed, agreed. So one super cool tip for doing that. Okay, so let me grab my tiered tray. I'll show you guys what a tiered tray is in case you guys are unfamiliar. And I'll show you a few pieces that I already had to decorate it. And I also linked some for you in the description of the video below. All right, so here's what my tiered tray looks like. It's from Hobby Lobby. You can get them a lot of different places. I think Hobby Lobby has the best selection. My tag on here says $49.99, but I think mine was 50% off when I bought it. So this is a tiered tray and they're super popular in the farmhouse decor world. And I think that they just are such a fun piece of home decor. In fact, let me angle my camera down really quick. Give me just a second. I'm gonna angle it a little bit lower so that you guys can see my bottom tier as well, because I have a 3-tier tiered tray. You guys can see the totes in the background of my craft room because I'm a mess and I have some stuff I need to put away. So that's what all of that junk is over there. Okay, so now you can see my tiered tray here. And basically it's just what it sounds like. These little tiered tray pieces can just kind of stack around like this, and they just lean up against all of the sides. So you can get them in a 2-tier or a 3-tier option. I picked the 3-tier because I really liked the color of this one, but of course you guys can choose and grab whatever you think is going to work best for you. And some of these work better than others in these different tiers. They come in a lot of shapes and different sizes and things, so you can just pick what you think works best for you. So I'm just gonna place these on here and then I'll show you some of the other things that I already have, like I said, to decorate this tray, because of course these few pieces are not gonna fill up the whole thing. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm even more in love with this looking at it in the camera. Leanne said, your craft room looks used, LOL. It sure does, because it is. I know, you guys always think that everything's clean in here all the time. Trust me, friends, not the case. It's just usually back this way is usually clean, but I have clothes I need to switch out. I have all my derby decorations over there that are being worked on. I have spring decorations over there, so it's just all kinds of normal stuff. Oh, okay, hang on just a second, guys. We got a spammer. Let me get rid of this. Let me block this person and delete these messages. Sorry about that. Good, okay, these were all removed. All right, guys, I blocked that person, so hopefully they are gone. Stephanie, the Crafty Girl Project, said you can buy the small round wood cube blocks at Dollar Tree and hot glue them back to back to the stand if you like. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, we get trolls every once in a while here, but we don't let that bring us down. Absolutely not. Of all the things that I've dealt with today, that's honestly the easiest thing to do. No big deal. Okay, so I gathered some different things and I forgot that I have something else I want to show you guys. Something else that I cut out for our tiered tray. Totally forgot about it until just right now. So I'll wait to show you that. So here are some other things that I've bought at the Target dollar spot. Other things like that I thought would look cute in a tiered tray. Okay. So we have all different kinds of things. One of them is just like these little fake succulents. This is a little bit of a larger one. So let me make sure that doesn't have my address on it. Nope, it doesn't. Okay. So this is a little bit of a larger one. So as you can see, like it's not the greatest fit for this kind of tray. But I have this little tiny guy that I got from Dollar Tree a while ago, and this one would look great as something to fill it out. Now I know you guys can only see like the front section of my tray, so this is not what it would look like fully filled out, of course, but you would want to use lots of little pieces like this to like fill it out. So these were some little heart place cards that I found at the Target dollar spot a couple years ago. I got a pack of 3, but I thought those would make a great little piece that would like stack in here. I don't want to put it against that in case it's wet, but you could do some cute little things. Well, actually that wouldn't look very cute, but you guys know what I'm saying. That's another cute option for you if you want to add some things in there. So like fake succulents, these little hearts. You can also use really tiny little vases that you find at Dollar Tree. Like it would fit on some of my like larger tiers, like tiers 2 and 3. This one's even a little bit big because I can't have anything in it, but you could certainly fill it with, you know, a little bud or something like that. That would be super cute. Something else that I found were, let's see, what were they called these? They called these little nameplates. So they're just like little horizontal chalkboards, and they actually have a little hanger on them, but I would just leave that down. But you could write cute little phrases on the chalkboard and like stick those kind of along the edges if you wanted to, or in larger tiered trays. So again, some places to pick some of these things up would be Dollar Tree, Target Dollar Spot, Dollar General, Five Below. Any of these little knick-knack things that you could have around the house would make this a super, super cute display. So another thing that I saw that I was in love with when it came to tiered trays were those super cute little banners. So, oh, I also found these little mini clothespins that I thought would be kind of cute, and we might try to use one here in a second. We'll see. So I cut a little mini banner from a Cricut Access project in Cricut Design Space, and I wanted to show you guys that really quick too. We can either use twine or we can use yarn. Oh, another one that I'm missing. So I don't have any because I haven't made any yet, but those wood beaded tassel things, you guys know what I'm talking about? They're like rustic tassels that have like the wood beads all along them. Those are super popular for tiered trays. So that is definitely something I would recommend that you add to it. You can order those on Amazon. And I linked a few extras down in the description of like a finished set of tiered tray stuff if you don't want to decorate your own. And then I also linked like a little set of mini windows. People do mini fences. I mean, they literally go all out for these tiered trays. So lots of great options. But I found this little mini pennant flag banner that I cut out of this really cute pattern paper. This is deluxe paper from Cricut. And if you guys are not already buying deluxe paper from Cricut, then you are totally missing out. Now, I know that maybe not everyone's a fan of Cricut products, but I'm telling you, Cricut has some of the cutest paper ever. Like, I absolutely love this set. And in fact, I like all of the deluxe paper and all of the brands by the designer Natalie Milan. She designs a lot of stuff for Cricut, and I love her style. So I chose to cut a couple of these out, and I thought that we would assemble that real quick and add it to our little tiered tray. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about with a little banner, then I'll show you here in just a second. Let me move all the things out of the way, and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. I guess we need to put our circle somewhere, huh? Maybe on the bottom here. I know it's on the back side, so y'all can't see it. Maybe I can do like that. We'll stick our little succulent in between there. Okay. Thanks, guys. I'm so glad you like it. Oh, so cute. I'm so glad you guys like them. I know. I love the green. Yeah, Sarah said the green from the plant looks so good with the black and white. So love it. And you know what? I need to link my specific tiered tray for you guys because I know you guys were really curious about it too. So let me send you back overhead and I will show you the little pennant that I found, or the pennant flag project that was already in Cricut Design Space. So I literally did not have to do a single thing. All I did was cut these little pennants out, and I'm just going to put some double-sided tape on the inside of them. So they cut like this, and there was a score line in between. So all I had to do, and excuse the paint all over my fingers, is just fold these little guys in half like this. And then all I'm gonna do is put some double-sided tape on the inside. I'll put the string in first, and then we'll close them up and they'll be all done. So this way we can create a little banner for our tray as well. And if you guys are interested, if a lot of you have Cricut access, let me know in the comments and I will link the project down in the description of the video. This is a ready to make Cricut project, so it is gonna require Cricut access. But I use Cricut access actually quite a bit. I know lots of people are torn on that. I definitely don't think that Cricut access is an absolute essential, but I do use mine fairly often, especially for stuff like this, because it can be so quick and easy. I love it. Oh, Irma loves Cricut cardstock too. Me too, sister. I love it. Ashley said, I bought a tiered tray and my mom took it to put all her vitamin and medicines on. Well, I guess it's double useful. Oh, I'm so glad you guys like it. Okay, good. All right, so I'm just gonna do this real quick and then we will wrap things up. I personally like to use double-sided tape with paper because I'm pretty sloppy with glue. I'm pretty sloppy. So I just like to add double-sided tape because I think it makes it so much faster and so much neater. So I'm just gonna spread all these out. And for the string for this little banner, so we're gonna alternate lemons and these green stripes. Do you think that we should use the white yarn like this, the off-white yarn? This is Dollar Tree yarn, by the way. Or should I use twine, like jute string? Let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna make sure these are patterned all in the right way. Nope. This, then this. I guess I should put them out like this maybe. So that's lemons and then green, then lemons, and then green, and then lemons. So I think I have one extra. Oh, good. You can put this right here. Okay. So I'm just gonna pull off a bunch of this tape. Like this. I'm just gonna cut little pieces off. So this is double-sided tape. This stuff is in my Amazon store if you want to check it out. It is my favorite double-sided tape ever. I use it for everything. And all I'm literally gonna do is just put some like this and then cut it off. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the string across all of them right here. And then when I'm ready, I'll pull off the label for the double-sided tape and that will get them to stay on the banner and nobody will ever see all of my double-sided tape. So that's why I love double-sided tape so much because I personally think that it is glorious. Sorry guys, I know you can't really see me doing this. When I get to some of these other ones, I'll show you. So I'm leaving a little bit of space at the top for the string. Like that. And this way we don't even have to string it. We'll just put the string across all of them and remove all the pieces. And it will be so perfect. When I saw this, I actually wasn't even sure this project was in Design Space, but last night when I was prepping the project, I thought, ooh, it would be really cute if I had a mini banner for my tiered tray. So let's see what Design Space has. And lo and behold, it had a mini banner ready to go. I didn't even size it. I just guessed. Okay, so now that I have all of that here, what did you guys tell me in the comments? What do you think? Twine for sure. Okay. You guys are all for that. Cool. Okay, well then I'll definitely link it in the description if a lot of you guys have access. Dee said, Alex, when you're in town and not so busy, would like to still meet you. Oh yeah, we need to do that. You're right. I actually did not stop at Chick-fil-A, ironically, by Dee's, but I did go, I feel like, a million times. Oh yeah, Val, you could totally do these lemon themed ones for a bridal shower. Yeah, so Natalie Milan is the designer by Cricut that does, well, I think she's a designer all by herself, but she also works with Cricut, and she does a bunch of these. And you know what, I might not even put all of these on there because I don't think my tray is gonna need that many. I might just do like this mini and leave these 3 off, and I can always decide to add them later because they don't have the label taken off of the double-sided tape. So I'll line these all up, make sure they're in the correct order. I'll cut my piece of string. I always like to cut it a little bit longer than I think I need it, just in case. And then what I'll do is I'll lay it across all of them like this. And then I'll just go down the line and pull the paper off like that. Make sure you leave the adhesive tape behind. It's a little bit hard to see. But you just pull the white liner off and then you can just fold it over. Try to fold it neatly so that they like line up on top of each other. But boom, you guys, how stinking cute is that? And then we can space them out a little bit here, so they're not sitting right on top of each other, but you want to leave enough room so that there is room to space them out and to move them along the banner. You don't want to put the tape super high up. But you guys, tell me that is not too cute for words. Tell me. When I was like cutting this last night, I was super tired. I was like ready to go to bed, but I was like, this is 100% worth my losing a little bit of sleep right now, because it is just so stinking cute. Okay. All right. Oh, guys, don't forget, I meant to say this earlier, but don't forget that Mother's Day is on Sunday. So if you haven't made your mom a card, or, you know, whoever mother figure you have in your life, make sure that you do so. I'm going to be making mine a card probably tonight, actually, on my Joy. And I need to order the new Joy mat. I have it, or the new card mat for all the bigger machines. I have it in my cart already. I just need to decide what other card sizes I want to buy and then check out. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at this cute banner. Oh, I'm literally in love, literally squealing about it because it is just so stinking cute. So now let me take you back to my tiered tray and I'll show you how I'm going to put it on. And then we're going to wrap this guy up. Oh, cute. I love that, Val. That's adorable. Val said, I push myself too, then the next morning my butt's dragging. I know what I mean. I know what you mean, Belle. I do the same thing. Ashley said, my mom is so mad because I'm in Colorado till Monday. Oh, that's awesome. Renee ordered the card mat. Yay. I'm so excited for it. I think it's so awesome. I'm so glad they came out with something like that. Okay. So typically what I have seen people do is, I think most of them are putting it around the middle of the thing. Should we do it around the middle? Should we do it around the top? What do you guys think? Middle like this? Or do we make it a little smaller? Or do we, well, I guess the banner will seem a little bit bigger. And do we do it at the top? You guys vote in the comments. Let me know what you think. Top or middle? Oh, thanks, Phil. You're so welcome. I'm happy to do that. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Renee, that you lost your mom a few years ago. I also know that Mother's Day can also be a really difficult day for a lot of people. For those of you who have lost your mom or don't have a great relationship with your mom, so I'll be thinking of you as well. Middle, you think? Big Daddy said, the new card mat, yeah, for bigger machines. It's made for the Explorer and the Maker. Doesn't have to be the brand new ones. Oh, you guys are split. A couple of you say middle, a couple of you say top. Yeah, you know, I think now that I look at it, I think I do like the top a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead. Oh, darn it. It fell. I'm going to go ahead and tie like a non-permanent knot here around the top. I'll just tie it like in a bow. But I have those little mini, oh my gosh, what are those called? Little mini clothespins. And I may see what those look like to hold it in place. I don't know that it'll actually pinch the whole tray, but I'm going to try. Oh, you guys, look how cute that is. I'm dying. You guys are so cute. Oh, that's true, Kristen. You could totally drape it as well. That's such a great point. There's so many ways you guys can do this. And of course, I'm not going to tie it because I don't want it to be permanent. So I can always move it around, change it up, do all the things. But I'm going to use some of these little mini clothespins, and I wonder if that will help hold it. Oh, no. Those are definitely not big enough. Definitely not big enough to pinch my tray. So that's not going to be very useful for us. But I think that that pretty much sums up our tiered tray. Let me clean up some of this stuff around it so you guys can get the full effect. But I'm so excited, you guys. I'm so excited to finish up this craft. This was one of my favorites, but I always like to kind of save the best for last. I don't know if you guys are like me. Where's all that? Okay, in the camera. It's all this stuff over here. So I always like to save the best for last. And in fact, I think, let me know in the comments what your guys' favorite project has been so far, because we still have the giant flowers to go, but let me know what your favorite project has been from the mystery box so far in the comments. I would love to hear your input on that. Oh my goodness. Hold on, y'all. We gotta block another troll. There we go. All right. Took care of that again. That's so annoying. Bye, D. See you soon. Love you too. I know. What in the world is with these trolls? But that's okay, guys. We took care of it. Easy peasy for me to block them. Takes about 2 seconds. So let me know in the comments what your favorite project has been from the mystery box so far. I would love to hear. But there we have it. Oh, you guys, I love it so much. Love it so much. Here, we'll move it into the forefront a little bit so you guys can see. Oh, that's true, Karen. I could hot glue it. That way I could pull it off. Candace said, I love the spring sign, but the tiered tray is awesome. I know, I'm struggling between the tiered tray and the door hanger. Because I've been loving seeing all of your door hangers, but I mean, honestly, I really like this one too. Oh gosh. All right, y'all. Well, this has been so much fun. I appreciate you guys so much for hanging out this long with me on a live. So please be sure to like this video if you haven't already, and subscribe if you haven't already, so that you never miss another DIY Alex video. And thank you again to those of you who purchased the Spring Farmhouse Mystery Box. I really appreciate all your support, and I know that 143 Vinyl does as well. Oh, that's good. That's good to know. Carla said, haven't gotten to make any of them yet. I completely understand, Carla. Don't worry. But I have the finished items and love them all. Although this will look better on my tray. There you go. That's so true, Carla. All right, guys. I love you all. I'll see you real soon, okay?